Let's see. Good morning, 60 Gang. It's your boy Doug. Birthday. Welcome to the world. If you're just born today, and my condolences go out. March 7, 2026. You with your boy Doug early this morning. Make sure you stop by my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. Thank you for coming. That's at Douglas Monroe, lowercase 5809. We're getting close. I only need 19 more people to become legit. Then I'll be too legit to quit. Once I hit 500 subscribers, me and 50 Gang ain't gonna try to start a little podcast, do a little vlogging. Might go live, but we're trying to wait on these 19 more subscribers. We're gonna give you more series content. I see you guys like the Ice Team, Big Doug, Mafioso in Manhattan. We're gonna bring that episode back. We're gonna have some stars in that series. I already got Giancarlo Esposito in that series. I'm gonna add Trump, of course. I'm gonna add a couple of other people you never think I'll be adding to my series. We already got Tommy Egan. So yeah, look for more things like that to happen. And I appreciate you guys coming to my channel, enjoying my videos and commenting. I really appreciate that. I told you guys I was going to do it the hard way. I don't be paying for no advertising, but advertisers can pay me, because sooner or later, keep going one step at a time, I'm going to get there. I got to make a run from the east side of Atlanta to the west side of Atlanta. We're going from Loganville, Georgia to Smyrna, and then we're going to go to East Decatur. Got two people that want to see me, and I like getting up early because I have road rage real bad. I can't stand the slow motherfuckers. So, all right, we're headed to Smyrna, Georgia, first stop, and then downtown East Atlanta. All right, guys, let's roll.
Service, and it went pretty much how you probably expected it to go. There were a few key prominent figures in attendance that decided to speak, and some of those prominent figures included Kamala Harris. We also had Joe Biden and Barack Obama, who decided to get up and, give a couple speeches amongst themselves. But the first person that I want you guys to hear is Isaiah Thomas. He used to play for the Pistons back in the day, NBA, for those of you who don't know. He played NBA for the Pistons back in the day. His son, Isaiah Thomas Jr., played for the Celtics back when the Celtics were good, when you had him and you had Rajon Rondo and you had, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, back when the Celtics were good, right? Well, Isaiah Thomas, it turns out, is retarded, and I'd like to show you video proof of what I'm saying, and I want you to listen to this, and then I want to show you a fun little meme that makes this all even funnier, in my personal opinion. Just listen.
I also like to honor the five presidents.
Five presidents. And then everybody claps, because I guess you just have to, whatever. If it goes quiet, people feel the need to clap and the standing for them, I'm still not quite sure. But you'll understand in just a moment what I mean.
President Harris.
I'm sorry, who?
President Clinton.
Who? Meaning
President Bill Clinton. First Lady Jill Biden.
She's over there.
President Biden.
Okay.
The Chicago's own South Side, President Barack Obama.
Explain to me why you would give the prestigious honor of the word president in front of your name to Kamala Harris, who clearly was never president.
Never
she
will
lost
be.
to President Trump, or to Hillary Clinton, who
never was.
lost to President Trump.
And
so
Obama.
why would either of those women get the ability to have the name president in front of them? It made me think of this meme that I saved, and I actually showed it to you guys on President's Day, and it says, "Know who isn't celebrating President's Day?" And it's got these two crotchety looking ladies sitting there looking extra pissy. I felt that was extremely disrespectful of Isaiah Thomas to call those two women president whatever. And I wonder, I'm very, very curious if Bill, good old Billy boy over there, and Joe Biden himself, and even Barack were sitting there going, "Excuse me, sir, like, how dare you lump them in with us?" And then Jill over there going, "How come I only got first lady?" Well, you never ran for anything. And anyway, I just thought that was stupid beyond all belief. But I did not think it could get worse than that at the memorial service for Jesse Jackson. Oh, but it really truly did. And I want you guys to know ahead of time. So I was curious what the difference was between Jesse Jackson's funeral and Charlie Kirk's funeral, because as I was watching the funeral service or the memorial for Reverend Jesse Jackson, I noticed that there was a lot of political bashing. It was more, it seemed, about shitting on the Republicans, conservatives, President Trump specifically, and then it was in remembering what Jesse Jackson was known for with his Push Coalition, his Rainbow Coalition, all of his civic duties that he, tried to put together. He was a man of a lot of, what's the word you want to use here, y'all? He was a man who had his hands in a lot of different things, trying to make things better for a lot of different people. Even President Trump posted up, he was a great man. He had respect for Jesse Jackson and whatever else. I was a little curious, though, for myself, how a Baptist minister could also be for transgenders, because how can you be one and then think that the other is real if, as a minister, you're supposed to believe that God made man in his image, and his image wouldn't have been confused on what it was. So how can you be a minister and also believe in transgenders? But that's not the point here today. So I was thinking that, this was going to be about Jesse Jackson, the man, the minister, the civil rights icon, all these different things. And it wasn't. Instead, it was a room full of people that wanted to bash President Trump. But what's even worse than that is they let Joe Biden get up and talk. Now, we know that good old Joe Biden, when he was president of the United States of America, basically he was a puppet. I'm pretty sure Obama had his hand straight up his ass the entire time. And then, you had Pelosi pulling strings from the top, and Hillary was somewhere. I don't know what part she had in it, but she was somewhere pulling something. That sounds gross. And Joe Biden, we know that he started to have some serious mental decline, either early onset dementia, something was going on. He liked to sniff babies, sniff children. I feel like now that we're talking about the Epstein files, we forget to talk about the fact that Joe Biden was a disgusting human being when it came to being around children and younger kids like that. But either way, once he left office, after they basically yanked him out of the presidential run without his knowledge, and, Jill Biden signed his name and underlined it, which he never used to do. And then they started to auto pen all his shit for him. And then they put Kamala Harris on the presidential ballot. You didn't really hear from him for a little bit, right? And then it came out in May of 2025 that suddenly they found out he had stage 4 prostate cancer that had, I can never say this word, it had moved to his bones. Starts with an M, I don't know how to say it, so we're not even gonna attempt it today. It had moved to his bones and all these things. And he's supposed to be, I would think, taking it easy, especially when you're going through radiation and you're going through chemotherapy and you're going through all these different things to try to help your body elongate its life for a couple more months or maybe a year or two. But instead, he's up on stage here in Chi-Town, I'm pretty sure this is in Chicago, to talk to the people in the audience. And I just want you to hear what this man had to say. Now, I should have given you closed caption here. If you have the ability to turn on closed caption, you may want to, although I'm pretty sure closed caption is gonna just jumble a bunch of letters together, because that's what it sounds like while listening to Joe Biden right now. But I need you to hear some of the things that he said to the predominantly black crowd in this memorial service. All right, you ready for this? Let's see which one we're starting off here today.
If I told you all earlier when I was a kid I had a cleft palate or club foot, none of you would have laughed. But it's okay to laugh at stuttering. I'm not being critical of you, but think about it. It's the one place where people think you're stupid.
No.
Oh, really? I'm a hell of a lot smarter than most of you.
I'm sorry.
What the fuck that
What? What? I'm a hell of a lot smarter than most of you? Oh,
In
I wonder
some
if
weird way.
at the age that Joe Biden is and at the mental cognitive decline that he's at, if he has legitimately reached that level of I don't give a
Fuck.
fudge on what he says or what people think or anything else, because that right there, I would think, would be a moment where if Jill had been next to him, she probably would have pushed him off the stage to keep him from speaking. I doubt when he got off the stage, she said, "Oh, you did so good. You did so good. You answered the questions so well." You know, like how after he had the presidential debate against President Trump and then Jill clapped for him like he did some great thing. And I'm pretty sure she was just excited he didn't shit his pants on stage. Although, he may have already been wearing a diaper at that time because of the prostate thing. So anything is possible. I just thought of that. Anyway, so there was that one. And I was like, okay, well, Joe, obviously you're not going to get worse than that until he got worse than that. So for some reason, once again, they need to give this man a teleprompter. And I want you to just listen, just listen.
By the way, you know, the continent of Africa is going to be the largest continent in the world in terms of population by the year 2050. The largest in the entire world. Watch,
What that
man.
mean?
Watch.
I'm sorry, what? Do
What
you
that
know
got
something
to do-
we don't know?
what
What,
that got
by
to do with-
2050, he pulled a random number out his ass for that one. He said 2050, the continent of Africa is going to have like the biggest be the most people in the entire world. Are we moving there? Is that? Do we
forgot
need to
about
go
the
there?
Mexicans.
Are there nuclear bombs headed somewhere? Like, do you know what's happening in Iran since you and your buddy Obama gave them all the money and everything else, and Hillary too, in order to make these nuclear bombs? Do y'all know something we don't know? 2050. So then, this is how my brain works, y'all. If it's your first time here, you know, good luck following along. This is how my brain works. I was very curious. I was like, brain, why would he say that by 2050, Africa's going to have like the most people in it? My first thought was, well, maybe they don't abort their babies like we do here in the U.S. For, you know, remember how at the DNC, Kamala Harris literally brought abortion vans to the DNC so people, while they were waiting in line, they could just go get, you know, the insides scooped out while they waited for their mimosa or their popcorn or nachos or whatever else was going on. They had the abortion bans. So I went and did some research and I was like, okay, well, is he saying that because the African continent, you know, doesn't perform abortions like we do here in the US or at the rate that we do here in the US? Well, let me tell you something. I learned some new shit today that you guys now need to know. The African continent, primarily sub-Saharan Africa, which I don't like sub-Saharan. People have been using the word sub-Saharan to talk about like negatively about black people. So every time I hear it, I'm like, it feels a little cringy to me, but my husband uses it as like a joke. And it's really, he's black, so that's allowed. Don't do it any other time, I think. But it was just very weird reading it that way. But listen, it says, according to this, Africa performs like twice as many abortions as we do here in the US. And I was like, oh, okay. Didn't know that, was not aware that was going on. So for those of you who want to learn a little something, in the United States, the most recent reliable estimates from the Guttmacher Institute put the abortion rate at about 15.4 per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44. This was in 2024. With similar figures around 14 to 16 in recent years, varying slightly by sources, blah, 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 and CDC. In sub-Saharan Africa, which comprises the bulk of the continent's population and where most comprehensive data exists, the estimated rate is 33 abortions per 1,000 women aged 15 to 49, which is crazy, but it says this rate remained relatively stable over the past 2 decades at roughly 31 to 33. So for a while, it's been about the same. For every 1,000 women, 33 of them are going and having abortions in Africa, and here we are closer to 15 per 1,000 women. which I did not realize was a thing. It doesn't ever occur to you on a daily basis in the middle of, Pilates or washing clothes or cooking for your family to go, I wonder how many people get abortions in the world. Just not something I thought to look up. And now I know, and I don't know that I'm better for that knowledge. But now you have that knowledge to do with it what you will. So then there's more with good old Joe Biden, because heaven forbid they let him get off the stage any faster than that. They decided to let
him go. Let him keep talking.
Let him just keep talking. And so I have this fun one here for you that I find to be very ironic. The one here with Joe Biden, the irony is not lost on me. And then later on when Barack Obama speaks, the irony is not lost on me, because we've talked about this numerous times, how the left seems to be the most hypocritical and dense population out there. Like, they will say something as a negative towards Republicans and conservatives, not realizing that they're really talking about themselves, but trying to project it on Republicans and conservatives. So when you hear this little piece by Joe Biden, you're gonna be like, Joey, honey, do you realize that you're talking about yourself? So let's just, once again, take a good old listen to Joe Biden.
This is bad times like that. We're in a tough spot, folks. We got an administration that doesn't share any of the values that we have.
Thank
I think I'm
goodness.
exaggerating a little bit.
I feel like it's a good thing, though.
So,
Okay, so that's actually, I got backwards. That's the one where I'm like, I think he's actually right. We do have an administration that does not share the values of the Democrats. And I applaud that. And they were like, are we supposed to clap for this? I feel like this is not a clappable thing. And then you can see, like, in the background, they're like, I guess we do, because he stopped talking like he was waiting. I just think he forgot what he was supposed to say next. I don't think he was waiting for a clap. He was waiting for a sign or a cue card or a buzz or something. I don't know. But either way, it's just very interesting to me, the way they let Joe Biden get up on that stage. But then I was curious. Again, listen, I was curious about the whole stage 4 prostate cancer and everything else, and how it was progressing along. So I asked some questions, and I want to give you a little bit of information on it, because I was like, okay, so Biden has cancer, right? I said, how is Joe Biden still seemingly in such good health that he can speak at a funeral when he was diagnosed almost a year ago with stage 4 cancer that has spread to his bones? And according to this, it's because he's been able to do hormone therapy, that androgen deprivation, they're saying, is the cornerstone treatment for hormone-sensitive metastatic prostate cancer, which dramatically lowers testosterone levels, which many prostate cancers depend on to grow. So there's that. He also, in October 2025, his team announced he began radiation therapy, which lasted around 5 weeks, right, alongside the hormone treatments. Then they're saying modern treatments for this condition, including intensified hormone therapy combinations, can extend life significantly. Experts note some patients live 4 to 10 plus years or longer with metastatic disease, depending on responses, right? And then I was like, all right. And it said, Biden has access to excellent medical resources, close monitoring, and symptom management. And so then I was like, are these treatments that Joe Biden's getting available for literally anybody? Because we've heard tell of the elites being able to get things that we, the normies, can't get, right? The peasants down here underneath the top of the government list that we can't get, that some of us definitely do not want. I don't want anything with baby blood. That's not me. You keep your, what is it, adrenochrome, whatever they call it, keep that to yourself. Don't even keep that to yourself. That's gross. Stop doing that. Anyway, so I was curious, is this something that, anybody can get? And it's like, well, yeah, most people can get it, but the problem is if you don't have the right healthcare, or you don't have the right hospitals, doctors, whatever else, and that comes up, there's the possibility it will be something that's outside of your coverage, outside of your care package or whatever. So I was talking to my mom earlier today, You guys know, if you've been here for a while, that I had to take her to the ER about a month ago, and we've been slowly moving along with what's happening there. There's a rheumatologist coming up, there's a cardiologist coming up. They're more worried about her heart than anything else. They were worried because they took her off statins and put her on prednisone, and prednisone's supposed to be, killing her immune system. It's a whole shit show. As you get older, is what I'm realizing, that it's very difficult to pinpoint what causes what and to stop what's causing what and whatnot. But so talking about Joe Biden here, it made me think about not just my mom and her Medicare, but regular insurance as well. And it's one of those things where you don't expect to ever have to go, hey, listen, can I please have radiation and chemotherapy and whatever else? But I feel like it's questions that you should make sure you know the answers to when you're getting your insurance. Again, whether it's regular insurance through like your employer, or you're under 65, or if you're over 65 and you're in Medicare, if you're happen to be on Medicaid, any of these different things. I feel like these are questions that need to be asked ahead of time, because I feel like that whole better to know and not need it than need it and not know, or to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it kind of situations. So for those of you who do regular insurance through employers, or because you're under 65, ask those kind of questions. Ladies, ask about breast cancer treatments and stuff like that, because they're saying now that 1 in 2 people is going to have some form of cancer in their life, which is effing terrifying. I blame it on the food, but that's a whole different story or topic. But for those of you 65 and up, if you have questions, I've talked to you guys about them before. Chapter Medicare, I friggin' love them, because they can answer any questions that you may have. Their phone number, for those of you who want to give them a call just to kind of figure out if you are covered, what's possible for you, whatever. Phone number is 513-898-3528. It's going to be in the pinned comment of today's video. It is better to make that free phone call and just ask the questions ahead of time to know than, like I said, need it and not have it. It is better to know ahead of time what you've got. But because I was talking about Joe Biden, it made me think of that, and I wanted to bring that to you guys because I love you and I want everybody to stay as safe as humanly possible. Now, outside of Joseph Biden, I would like to now play for you this lovely little clip of Kamala Harris. Not because I want to, but because I need to. Because we have to remind ourselves that we dodged the dumbest bullet humanly possible when everybody went out in droves to vote for President Trump, whether because they liked him or not. I know a lot of people who voted for President Trump because they were like, I'm not gonna let that batshit alcoholic Kamala Harris sit in the Oval Office and, giggle at every damn thing, and then try to go talk to other world leaders and have any sort of common sense or anything. It's like AOC in Munich, right? Like, this is not a good look. So people went out in droves, voted for President Trump. Hallelujah, praise Jesus, here we are. But Kamala Harris, for some reason, got the esteem of standing up at Jesse Jackson's funeral. And I'm going to assume it's because they were still touting that whole she's black card. Whatever. But this is what she had to say, and just watch. Just watch and listen. And the ladies behind her, I'm watching them, and I can't tell if they all hate their life right now, or if they're excited to be there with her, or if they're going, bitch ain't black. I can't tell what they're thinking. Maybe y'all can watch them as this goes and give me your thoughts in the comment section, but listen.
Let me just say, I predicted a lot about what's happening right now.
Bringing out that Atlanta black scent that she doesn't actually have.
I'm not into saying I told you so, but we did see it coming. But what I did not predict is that we would not have Jesse Jackson with us right now to help us get through this. And this afternoon has been such a beautiful remembrance of his spirit, his life, and his faith.
Okay, that's all we need. I'm sure it was a beautiful remembrance in the parts where they weren't just standing up there bashing Republicans, conservatives, President Trump, and our country. The other times it was probably great. But it's just, I'm not a fan of her, so I wanted you guys to just listen to her sound stupid. But now, unfortunately, we have to get to the part that I was trying to save and put off as long as humanly possible. And I want you to listen to Barack Obama. Now, I would like to remind everybody that Hakeem Jeffries is the Timu Barack Obama. You guys know this. Barack himself seems to have changed significantly from when he was in office. I feel like when he was in office, he wasn't such a condescending prick. And now that he is out of office and isn't running for anything, I feel like the true Barack Hussein Obama really shines every time he is able to talk and open his mouth or whatever else, and the racist part of him as well. And so I want you to hear what he had to say at Jesse Jackson's funeral. And just to remind you all that this is the same man that keeps trying to say that it's the conservatives, the Republican Party, that are mean and name calling, and that, you know, we've made it so hard for everybody because we aren't the ones of unity like he and his people are. By his people, I mean Democrats, not black people. There's more black Republicans out there than I think a lot of people realize, because they're tired of, you know, answering to the same group of people that hold them down, that started the KKK, that keep them oppressed, and then try to sell them a dream while, you know, stepping on it at the same time. That's not the point either. Let's listen to, I'm just going to start calling him Hussein from now on. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions.
Well, we're a republic, but continue.
Another setback to the idea of the rule of law.
What?
An offense to common decency every day you wake up to things you just didn't think were possible.
Like men pretending to be women, but continue.
Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other.
Never heard
and to
Trump say
turn
that.
on each other.
Never heard Trump say that.
And that some Americans count more than others.
Never heard Trump say that.
And that some don't even count at all.
Never heard Trump say that.
Everywhere we see greed and bigotry
That's on the
being
left.
celebrated, and bullying and mockery masquerading as strength. We see science and expertise denigrated, while ignorance and dishonesty and cruelty and corruption.
Listen, sir, this is not your pulpit. Sit your ass down. Number one.
Oh,
Number two, the
Fraud.
science. You mean how there's only two genders? You mean that science? Man, woman, that is it. XX, XY. And we're done. Those are all the chromosomes. Yeah, Barack Obama is, I want to say retarded, but I feel like there's a better word for him. I just haven't figured it out yet. We'll think of it and we'll come back to it later on. So that was the Jesse Jackson memorial, which sounded very much like they cared about Jesse Jackson and everything that we heard there today. Outside of that, there has been a lot of stuff happening in the world over the last 24 hours. I'm just going to give you a little rundown of a couple things because I found them to be either amusing, interesting, or oh shit, right? Oh, sugar honey iced tea. So one of the ones I'd like to bring to you is, you guys have heard of David Copperfield, right? The magician who's been around for a very, very long time. I feel like he's been alive for a very, very long time. And he had an MGM residency in Las Vegas. He's been there for like 25 years. He is a staple in Las Vegas. I'm sorry. He was a staple in Las Vegas because today, David Copperfield decided to hang his hat up in Las Vegas. And at first you're like, oh no, that's sad. Is it a health reason? Is it because you're getting older?
No.
Is it, you want time with your family? No, it's not those reasons. I'm gonna read to you his bye-bye letter, and then I'm gonna show you the reason for his bye-bye letter. So here's his letter. It says, my journey began as a kid in New Jersey, with a dream of one day making magic my life. I saw magic then, and I see magic now as more than just my work. Magic teaches us that often the things that others dismiss as impossible are not only possible, but within our grasp. Now, please remember that sentence when I show you the pictures in just a moment, because then you're going to hear that sentence in a whole different light, and it's going to make you want to vomit in your mouth. Let's continue. He says, for 25 years now, I've been fortunate to headline the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. My last performance at the MGM will be on April 30th, and I'm excited to announce what's next soon thereafter. It's the largest project I've ever tackled, and the most challenging too. I believe it's the staying out of jail project. Okay, in the meantime, I want to reflect on this moment and this milestone and thank the incredible team at EMGM and my crew that literally makes the magic happen nightly, sharing wonder with over 7 million people from nearly every country on earth. And then he says he'll be performing 120 shows over the next 8 weeks, and then join us if you can. This kid from New Jersey certainly did, believe in magic now more than ever, blah, 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 blah. And then I'd like to show you the real reason he is leaving. That is good old Ghislaine Maxwell and Copperfield just all canoodled up there in robes, okay? Which is, you know, maybe they're getting massages, right? Maybe they're at Caesar's Palace. I see these little thingies in the back, and you think to yourself, okay, that's not that bad. That one looks a little gropey. Maybe they had a sexual encounter or two with each other. Who knows? I'm not sure. It's this one, though, that throws me. The one with the candy. Because you know what I don't see adults do? Eat candy. Not like that. You know what I see eat candy like that? Children. You know what Ghislaine Maxwell is mostly known for? Trafficking children. So I have a lot of questions, and that's where we're going to leave that. I have a lot of questions, and everything that he said in his thing now disgusts me. Now, the other thing I want to mention to you is Ben Stiller. Listen, you may be asking yourself, Michelle, I don't care about actors. Well, neither do I, but I find this interesting, so I want to share it with you. There's a movie called Tropic Thunder, which is a very funny movie, and Ben Stiller happens to be in it, and in it he plays a special needs character, and he goes, you never go full retard. That's how he puts it, talking about special needs, which I thought was very wrong to call somebody with special needs retarded, because normally only people who are retarded are Democrats. There is, like I said, there's that movie. Well, the White House decided to put out a video. Please hold, that was way louder than expected. The White House put out a video today, and I want to show you some of the video, okay? This is from the White House, just a little bit of the video. I'm not going to play the sounds, the music, the whatever, but this is from different movies and whatnot, and I have to be careful for copyright reasons. And so you've got Braveheart, you got a little bit of 300, you got a little bit of Maverick, you got a little bit of everything, and then there's a little scene from Tropic Thunder in here. And so Ben Stiller, like I said, was in Tropic Thunder. He decided to repost the post from the White House, and he decided on top of that, he said, hey, White House, please remove the Tropic Thunder clip. We never gave you permission and have no interest in being a part of your propaganda machine. This war is not a movie, okay? He says war is not a movie. And you guys can see right there. It says Ben Stiller. He's the one who posted it. He's the same one who's about as batshit as Robert De Niro when it comes to their TDS, whatever. And so I was curious. I'm like, well, why did Ben Stiller say we never gave you permission to use this? Did Ben Stiller make this movie? Does he have the rights or own the rights to this movie? Because if he does, then it makes sense for him to ask these questions. So I, of course, went to go do a little legwork to figure out if Ben Stiller had a, leg to stand on. But Ben Stiller does not own any significant ownership rights to Tropic Thunder. Significant being the key word, because technically he does own a little. The film was produced by DreamWorks Picture, okay, in association with Stiller's production company, Red Hour Productions. And it was distributed by DreamWorks Pictures and Paramount Pictures. Now, over the past year or so, there's been a lot of finagling of who owns what in the movie and directorial areas, right? Well, after DreamWorks split from Paramount in 2008, Paramount retained the rights to live action films produced under their prior deal, including Tropic Thunder, which means Paramount holds the primary copyright and distribution rights, which means Ben Stiller can suck it because he has no leg to stand on, and the president can use whatever damn movie he wants to unless Paramount comes out and goes, no, you can't do that. And guess who didn't say that? Paramount. So guess what Ben Stiller can do? Shut the front door. We'll go with that. That makes more sense. So I just wanted you to know that Ben Stiller is going full retard. So there's that. On top of that, but wait, there's more. This one here, I thought was absolutely crazy to me. We were talking about Texas a day or two ago, about how Jasmine Crockett lost her job, and so did Dan Crenshaw, and I think Al Green. But some people are saying Al Green is in a runoff. I thought he had lost, so that's on me if I was incorrect there, forgive me. But then when we talked about Representative Tony Gonzalez, who happens to be a Republican in Texas. Well, Tony Gonzalez also happened to have a extramarital affair with somebody that he worked with, and when I guess he cut it off or whatever, the girl decided to light herself on fire and it has come to light. And now Tony Gonzalez is like, I'm not going to run for re-election. But I want you to hear his statement that he put out, okay? He said, at 18, I swore an oath to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. During my 20 years in the military and 3 terms in Congress, I have fought for that cause with absolute dedication to the country that I love. From overcoming the border crisis to taking a stand with my communities after the worst school shooting in Texas history, my philosophy has never changed. Do as much as you can and always fight for the greater good. After deep reflection and with the support of my loving family, I have decided not to seek re-election while serving out the rest of this Congress with the same commitment I've always had to my district. Through the rest of my term, I will continue fighting for my constituents for whom I am eternally grateful. And then he ended it with, God has a plan for all of us. What I did not hear in there was an apology to the family of the woman who, suffered because of him. What I did not hear was him taking any accountability for what he did and the real reason why he's stepping down and not going up for re-election. What I heard was a man who tooted his own horn and is a walking, talking piece of sugar honey iced tea. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention. For anybody in Texas, Tony Gonzalez is trash. Okay, so there's that. But wait, y'all, there's more. This has been floating around, and I want to show it to you. Okay, this has been floating around X and the internet in general. There, again, remember when Bill Clinton walked Chelsea down the aisle, and then Ghislaine Maxwell, who they kind of sort of knew but weren't really friends with, was like front frickin' row for the wedding, and then Hillary was like, well, she was somebody's +1, like they just let anybody into their daughter's wedding without doing thorough backgrounds, whether they're +1 or not. Okay, so this new post is saying Jeffrey Epstein paid for Chelsea Clinton's apartment and Ghislaine Maxwell was at her wedding. That can't be right. The Clintons claim they barely knew them. Weird, right? The part I want you to hear is where they're saying Jeffrey Epstein paid for Chelsea Clinton's apartment. Because I'm like, okay, well, Billy Boy, under oath, was like, I didn't know him. Then, I kind of knew him when I rode on his plane, and we were, not that close. And Hillary never met him and doesn't know him. But if that's the case, why would some man pay for her daughter's apartment? Like, I was very, very curious on how this all went. So I wanted to have the actual factual knowledge of how it went. So I did a little digging, trying to figure out exactly why people are saying Jeffrey Epstein paid for Chelsea Clinton's apartment, because I feel like the transparency is more important than the let's all get riled up and just repost some shit to see what sticks, right? So Jeffrey Epstein did not directly pay for Chelsea Clinton's apartment. And I think it's important that we all know that, because facts matter, right? It says here that the Chelsea Clinton purchased a full floor apartment in the building at 21 East 26th Street, known as the Whitman, in Manhattan for about $9.25 million in 2013. This was a standard market purchase reported at the time. Now it says here that according to reports, Epstein was an early investor in the building's conversion project itself. He invested roughly $920,000 in the development/sponsor entity around the time of the luxury condo conversion, which was before the 2013 sales launch. So before she bought him, he had his hands in revamping it, right? It said this gave him a stake that reportedly yielded strong returns as the building units sold to high-profile buyers, including Chelsea Clinton, Jeff Gordon, and Jennifer Lopez, who lives in the penthouse. And so his involvement, they're saying, was behind-the-scenes financial backer in the overall real estate project, not a direct payment or gift to Chelsea Clinton or her unit. The building attracted celebrities independently and blah, 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 blah. So he did have a hand in her building, but he did not pay her rent. He did not buy her a condo or apartment or whatever. He did not gift her anything. And I feel like we all need to know these things because, again, it's important to have the truth, not just the emotion of posts and stuff like that. So I wanted you guys to know. Last one, because we've been here for quite a while, and I'm sure you guys have other things you want to do. But this is one of the last ones that I wanted you guys to hear, because I think it's important, once again, that we pay attention to everything. So we talked about how Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert and Anna Paulina Luna were trying to get the hush fund out in the open. They're trying to make it so that you know exactly who the people in Congress are that are paying basically, hush money for sexual harassment suits, for workplace incidents, and all these other kind of things, right? And in 2018, they kind of overturned it so it couldn't be used the way it had been up until 2018, which is why they're trying to get all the records from before 2018 released. And then I believe it was Congress vetoed it. They voted like 357 to 60 something to no. They didn't want any of the stuff out, which makes it look really bad for the 357 people who voted no, because what are you hiding, huh? What'd you do? Who'd you pay off, right? Well, it turns out, for anybody who was curious, that the law that created the slush fund for the congressional sexual perverts was signed into law by President Clinton on January 23rd, 1995. And then it was sponsored by Senator Chuck Grassley, co-sponsored by Bob Dole, Fred Thompson, Joseph Lieberman, and John McCain, among others. And so I thought that was important that, you know, we're sitting here talking about Bill Clinton a lot lately because of the Epstein files and because of Monica Lewinsky, because of Paula Jones? What's her last name? Oh no, I don't remember. I feel awful. I don't remember her last name. Paula. And there's another one too. Y'all, I know there's a third woman. Either way, he had something to do with it. Now, it was not brought up by Bill Clinton, which I think is another thing we need to all talk about. He was not the one who was like, hey, we need to make a hush fund because I'm out here just groping ladies and whatever on the low, and I need to start paying them off. You guys remember the story I told you from Buzz Patterson, who was the nuclear football holder on Air Force One when President Clinton was president, and he said President Clinton groped one of the airplane stewardesses, and then had to like apologize to her or whatever. And so he said Bill Clinton has always been absolute trash. But Bill Clinton did not make this thing. This was brought about by the Congressional Accountability Act 1995. It was created by them, right? But it was signed into law by President Bill Clinton. The CAA applied workplace protections, including anti-harassment rules, to Congress for the first time and set up a process through the Office of Compliance, which is now the Office of Congressional Workplace Rights, with settlements paid from a Treasury account funded by taxpayers. And that's where the whole issue comes in for a lot of people, is that your tax dollars and my tax dollars are paying off men and women who are out there, you know, raping people or assaulting them or, you know, whatever it is that they're doing to them. It's your taxpayer dollars that are keeping it all on the hush hush, and that is not okay, right? So